We live in an era brimming with opportunities, yet also fraught with challenges, relentless change, and unending obstacles. Standing before an uncertain future, how well are you equipped to cope? What is your level of awareness and ability to handle difficulties? Many researchers have found that success is a combination of 20% coming from intelligence quotient (IQ) and 80% from emotional intelligence (EQ). Emotional intelligence is often considered more crucial than IQ in a person's personal growth and career development. However, Dr. Paul G. Stoltz points out that in this age, there is something even more important than emotional intelligence. AQ, the adversity quotient, the ability to overcome difficulties and adversity. If IQ and EQ determine how smoothly a person can navigate life, then AQ dictates how far you can truly go. This book will illuminate the challenges you face and how to confront adversity, how we build resilience from life's very ups and downs. From here, we can seek opportunities to become stronger, take a step forward, and elevate ourselves, to understand that infinite beauty is only found at the peak of a steep mountain. Life is a mountain climbing journey. Are you a quitter, a camper, or a climber who is always on the move? First, let's begin with a true story. In 1996, 31 people set out to conquer Mount Everest. The weather was beautiful until the entire expedition was nearing the summit when a sudden, horrific storm struck. People began to seek shelter. Some simply lay down, a truly perilous act. Ultimately, 8 people perished, including the experienced team leader who had successfully summited many times before. He could not survive the storm. A man named Beck Weathers was rendered unconscious in that blizzard. Several hours later, he unexpectedly regained consciousness in the extreme cold, his body nearly frozen and his eyes injured. Even though he had lost his warming gloves and realized he only had about 3 or 4 hours of strength left, he still pushed himself forward, seeking a way to escape and return to base camp. At that moment, only the image of his beloved wife and children at home flashed through Beck's mind. But in the end, a miracle occurred. He found his teammate's tent, and with his transcendent will, he survived. This is an extreme example to assess a person's ability to overcome adversity, as such dire circumstances don't typically happen in everyday life. However, confronting natural disasters is indeed the most accurate measure of one's adversity quotient. After many years of research and experience, the author suggests that everyone's life is essentially like a mountain climbing journey. From the story above, he offers an analysis. When facing difficulties, there are typically 3 types of people. Determine which type you are. The first type is the *quitters*. These individuals refuse to even set foot on the mountain from the very beginning. They accept life as it comes, preferring safety, often avoiding or giving up. Thus, they never discover the miraculous rewards the summit offers. The second type is the campers*. They are people who have climbed the mountain, but after finding a high and stable place, they begin to set up camp, making everything cozy and comfortable. Because of this, they decide to abandon the full conquest. They no longer wish to set foot on other peaks and hope to live in this comfort zone forever. The third type is the climbers*. They view this as a long, lifelong journey. Regardless of the circumstances, whether they are in a favorable position or not, whether in risk or good fortune, they always press forward. They are full of energy, believing that anything is possible, so they never let age, gender, ethnicity, illness, or any other factor hinder their climb. Clearly, the life of a quitter is a path of mere compromise. They abandon their dreams and choose the smoother, easier road. But the irony is that as life passes day by day, they become miserable, just as a poet once said, "Of all sad words of tongue or pen, the saddest are these. It might have been." As for the campers, after struggling for a while, they too choose to compromise. They believe they've done enough, that they can stop and enjoy the fruits of their labor. But sooner or later, they will fall into the fear of losing it all. In the cold storm, they fear losing their camp, fearing the loss of comfort, just as the author of the classic Walden or Life in the Woods said, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. It is a characteristic of wisdom not to do desperate things." Or more specifically, the greatest fear is not death, but a life unlived. Only the life of a climber is rich and extraordinary. They carry a mission and a strong passion, knowing exactly where their ultimate goal lies. They know how to savor the scenery throughout the journey and experience the joy of reaching the summit. That is the eternal gift, the reward that a climber's life brings to themselves. So, what kind of person are you? Do you aspire to become a strong climber with a high AQ? Here's a concept called the tree of success. It's like a comprehensive model that explains the core role of AQ, the ability to cope with difficulties. Imagine a person with high AQ standing strong like a mature tree in a harsh environment. The top of the tree represents personal performance, the most visible part of us. It's prominently displayed outwardly. The treetop is your achievement, which others and you yourself will use to evaluate you. The outward stretching branches represent a person's abilities and aspirations. Ability here is a combination of skills, experience, and knowledge, while aspiration includes passion, dreams, and ambitions. The trunk of the tree embodies a person's wisdom, health, and ethics, especially ethics, which includes qualities like fairness, honesty, and kindness, forming the foundation for us to live in harmony with ourselves and those around us. Finally, the roots represent a person's genes, family, and beliefs. These elements exist deep within your mind and soul. They are reflected subtly, yet play an extremely important role in the journey to success. To be a climber who can always be free and strong on your path, you need to nurture your AQ, planting and watering yourself to grow like a tree of success. How can you stand as firm as this tree? Below, we will delve into specific methods, and the first thing you need is a clearer awareness of adversity. In reality, we all live in an era full of adversity and must face 3 different layers of difficulty. The first layer of difficulty comes from society. This includes the narrow definitions of success imposed by public opinion, rising crime rates, widening wealth gaps, high divorce rates, and increasing unemployment. People are under immense pressure within an imperfect social system. The second layer of difficulty is occupational adversity. An article in Business Week had a shocking title, "Your Job is Hell." The article points out that today's workers face uncertainty about their salaries, jobs, and social security for a long time. In other words, today's workers are busier but earn less. Furthermore, to maintain this income, people must continuously learn and improve diverse knowledge and skills to cope with the complex changes in their professions, while the sense of security provided by employment is gradually disappearing. The third layer of difficulty comes from each individual's personal life. Difficult situations often occur like a pyramid. All the difficulties from society and profession typically cascade down, ultimately burdening each individual. Family burdens grow, personal health declines, and midlife crises make a person's psyche vulnerable. In a survey, Dr. Stoltz observed something profoundly significant. He found that a 6-year-old child laughs 300 times a day, while an adult laughs only 17 times. Yet, even those smiles are sometimes not genuine, but merely sad smiles, empathetic smiles, fake smiles, or forced ones. We should understand that all these adversities accumulate over time and occur silently in your life. 4 dangerous turns on the journey to the summit. On this perilous path, we have recognized crises and are striving to save ourselves, struggling to move forward. However, this journey always has many turns. Next, you need to understand how you've chosen to move forward to realize why you are always under pressure, unable to persevere to the end to build a meaningful life like a true climber. The first turn is when a climber becomes a camper and gives up climbing. This is a turn that many people choose. When climbing becomes harder, people begin to feel fear. They will stop in a comfort zone, set up camp, creating a safe place. They think this resting place is strong and stable enough to withstand the changes of the times and can maintain stability forever. But in reality, it cannot be as wished. Change never stops. Waiting for danger to cease is no different from waiting for life to end. There's a saying, "You will be reborn in adversity, but killed by complacency." A comfortable environment weakens you, causing your spirit, physical health, mindset, and emotions to deteriorate. Not only will you be unable to climb higher mountains, but you will also lose the ability to resist the storm. The second turn is dependence on technology. When climbing becomes harder, people begin to rely on technology instead of solving problems themselves. They forget that our greatest source of strength always comes from our mission and self-belief. When power shifts to technology, most people start to avoid taking responsibility and solving problems themselves. From there, they feel more helpless when encountering difficulties and begin to doubt themselves. Next is the third turn. Seeking temporary emotional boosts to keep going. Words full of encouragement and motivation, like a morning coffee, can awaken your spirit for a short time, but they cannot be sustained. For example, when you face a difficulty, you constantly seek comfort and encouragement from podcasts, videos, and online posts. However, after consuming them, you cannot transform the knowledge you've gained into your own to apply effectively in your life. You merely watch, listen, and then discard it. So, after understanding yourself through adversity, next you need to grasp the core elements to build your adversity quotient. Core, in English, means the essential part. It consists of 4 elements. Just like playing tennis requires a combination of strength, speed, coordination, and judgment to maintain stamina and breakthrough. Here, your resilience must also be a combination of the 4 dimensions of the word, core. These 4 dimensions include: first, the letter **C for control**. Ask yourself, how much control do I feel I have over adverse situations? Please note the important keyword here, feel, because what determines your level of control lies in your own perception. In other words, you must have a belief that anything is possible. Although it may be difficult, there will surely be a solution. The greater your belief, the higher your level of control over the problem. Conversely, if you always think, "This is beyond my capabilities, I can't do it," then you've lost your balance from the start. And for belief to turn into action, you need the second element, O for ownership **. Only when people feel responsible for all outcomes do they act with a strong spirit, and from there, can continuously learn and develop. Simply put, I believe in myself, I dare to act, and I take responsibility for that action. Next is the third aspect, R for reach **. People with low AQ are often very sensitive, so they tend to exaggerate difficult situations and let them significantly impact every aspect of their lives. For example, just a single criticism from someone else can make them anxious all day, or being rejected in an interview can make them feel their future is bleak. They may suffer from insomnia, become depressed, and make wrong decisions during this time. In contrast, people with high AQ have a calmer, more rational attitude. They will examine the problem objectively, not allowing negative emotions to spread and weaken their mood. Therefore, we need to always maintain calm, not letting small issues in our subconscious spread and affect our strength when we climb the mountain. Simply put, I believe, I dare to act, I take responsibility, and now I will be calm, allowing my mind to be like a still river, undisturbed by any external factors affecting my mood. And finally, to overcome adversity, you must possess *E for endurance **. Adversity can constantly knock you down, but what's important is how you can get back up after each failure and persistently move forward. That depends on your ability to not easily label yourself. People with low AQ have a pessimistic mindset, believing that a crisis is permanent, while attributing the cause of failure to uncontrollable, external factors. Conversely, people with high AQ will not easily label themselves. They are willing to believe that failure is due to their own insufficient effort, and they can improve the situation next time. Thus, you need to bring together all 4 of these elements for your ability to overcome adversity to form. However, to truly overcome adversity completely, you also need another set of tools. List, to enhance your adversity quotient. Over the years, the author has used the list tool to help many pessimistic people become optimistic, and to help many who had given up or stood still start their own mountain climbing journeys. I've tried it and shared it with many friends before. Everyone who applied it found it very effective. This toolkit includes: listen, identify, analyze, take action. Many might think, why does developing the ability to overcome adversity have to be such a complex process? But you need to understand that the reason our ability to cope with difficulties is low is because when difficulties arise, we often react unconsciously. List is like a tool that can activate your mind's warning system and help you restore rationality, because ultimately, the key to overcoming adversity lies in a person's rationality. Imagine the following scenario. If a madman stood up and yelled at you, "Look, it's all your fault. You're only making things worse. Give up." If you heard this, would you be influenced by his words and not seek a solution? Almost no one would care about the words of a madman. But what if these words came from within you? Can you guarantee you wouldn't be affected? Clearly not. You would start to believe it and frantically lose your composure in every situation. Therefore, to enhance our ability to cope, the first thing we need to do is to recognize difficulties by listening asterisk. So, what should we listen to? Listen to your own reactions when dealing with difficulties. For example, when you're about to go to work, you discover your car is out of gas. When you get to the office, you find the important package you ordered hasn't been delivered, or a pre-booked meeting room is being used by someone else, etc. Usually, these small inconveniences only make us uncomfortable at the moment, and then we dismiss them because they don't cause an immediate severe consequence. But the author advises us to recognize and be cautious of even small difficulties, just as a forest ranger can smell smoke before a fire spreads. You also need to recognize difficulties before they become a major disaster, because keeping your mind alert to difficulties will allow you to identify and reinforce your reactions, and gradually it will become a reflex, helping you quickly face similar situations. Specifically, after becoming aware of a difficulty, listen to how you are reacting to it. See if you're blaming circumstances and others. Are you avoiding or ignoring the difficulty? Then, self-assess your score on the 4 core aspects I mentioned above in handling this situation. By consistently listening to yourself and adjusting these 4 aspects, you will gain the strength of a climber who can automatically face difficulties, no matter how big or small. Here's another small tip to consciously recognize difficulties. People can place an alarm bell in their minds with a humorous, exaggerated tone like, "Ah, adversity, hello there." When such an alarm sounds in your mind, difficulties won't easily become negative emotions that make us lose our way. Next is to asterisk identify your own responsibility. Excessive self-blame or complete avoidance of responsibility can weaken our ability to control. Therefore, when faced with a bad situation, you can ask yourself, which part am I responsible for? Which part am I not responsible for? Taking reasonable responsibility will help you motivate yourself to act positively without focusing on exaggerating the bad things or turning them into a disaster. Next is the third tool, analyze asterisk. When a bad situation occurs, people with low AQ will allow themselves to focus entirely on the outcome, letting thoughts cascade like a domino effect. For example, when you are about to complete a task and your computer suddenly crashes and you haven't saved the work you just did. At this moment, many people might think, "Oh no, it's all lost. The project won't be completed, I'll lose the client, I'll be fired, and how will I pay rent next month?" With this way of thinking, the situation seems utterly terrible. But is the event truly that frightening, or is it largely your imagination threatening yourself? When faced with something bad, we need to analyze the extent of the badness by asking ourselves 3 questions. 1. Is there any evidence that you cannot control the situation? 2. Is there any evidence that this event will have repercussions on other aspects of your life? 3. Is there any evidence that the negative consequences will last indefinitely? When you can analyze the problem in this way, you will find that in most cases, the answer will be no. What is a real catastrophe, and what is a catastrophe that your imagination is exaggerating? From there, you can calmly resolve the issue. Then we move to the final step, take action asterisk. In fact, performing the first 3 steps of the list tool is to help you avoid getting caught in the trap of a victim mentality, so you can move towards precise, positive action. But some might say that life has countless difficulties. Facing major adversities like a loved one's accident or severe illness is truly agonizing. So, how can one be rational enough to use the list tool? About this, the author tells you that if we allow negative emotions to hide in our minds, we will forever lose our future. And in fact, the first 3 steps listening to difficulties, exploring responsibility, and analyzing difficulties are all designed to help you recognize and escape the hidden negativities arising from challenges. Listen to the story of the great mother, Candy Lightner. What did she do when her 6-year-old child was hit and killed by a drunk driver? If she hadn't listened to her reaction to the pain, hadn't explored responsibility, and hadn't analyzed the delusional thoughts causing her distress, she would have lived forever in sorrow and hatred. Her final action, after a full understanding of the difficulty, was to undertake a constructive endeavor. She founded an organization against drunk driving, advocating for related legislation to prevent other parents from experiencing similar painful emotions. And today, this organization has saved over 300,000 lives. This is the action of a true climber with the ability to overcome adversity. Overcoming your weakest reaction. After listening to the content above, let's review a little. You can pause and reflect on the entire content, combining it with your personal views and experiences to answer a few questions. What are your own thoughts on the most crucial way to enhance your ability to overcome adversity? What truly helps a person become mentally stronger? Is it about eliminating the factors that make you weak? So, what reaction of yours do you think makes you feel weakest? Psychologists assert that among reactions to difficulties, the one that can make people feel weakest stems from the brain's delusion, and that is catastrophizing. When you turn everyday difficulties into massive failures and view them as irreparable, the victim mentality immediately arises strongly within you. This mentality is a deep trap and often incites people to use it as a reason to give up action. The victim mentality often arises from not feeling that you can control the difficult situation, leading to a failure to take responsibility. Finally, to conclude today's sharing, I will share additional methods to help you practice stopping catastrophizing. The best way to stop imagining disasters is to intervene immediately, and there are two very effective methods: disrupt and reframe . The disrupt method includes 1. Slap your hand hard and exclaim, "Stop!" The sensation of pain combined with the exclamation sends a strong signal to your brain, creating a kind of neuroelectrical interference. This immediately blocks your negative thought process. 2. Alternatively, shift your attention to something irrelevant . This is a calming and less conspicuous way. This method is more suitable for public environments. You could also wear a rubber band on your wrist, like basketball player Kevin Garnett, who used it to avoid conflicts during games. Whenever they felt signs of an outburst, they would snap the rubber band painfully to interrupt the negative thought. 3. Furthermore, exercise is also a most effective way to produce endorphins in the brain, helping you relieve stress before confronting difficulties. So, what about the reframe method? This is how you immediately correct your skewed perspective when facing a difficulty. It will help you open up to a higher perspective. 1. The first very effective way is to refocus on your initial goal or the reason you had to face this challenge . When you feel you cannot see the whole situation clearly, this is the best time to apply this technique. 2. Secondly, make yourself feel small . This is how you deliberately place yourself in a vast environment, for example, standing before the ocean, looking up at a sky full of stars. The immense natural world will make one feel tiny. At this moment, you can humble your ego and begin to reevaluate your problem. 3. And finally, help others . When helping others, we can look at our own problems with a more humble perspective. But when helping others, try to ask questions instead of lecturing. We can use the list tool to help friends and family improve their level of control based on the 4 aspects of the adversity quotient core. In the list tool, we can ask questions to the person being helped. Who can take this on for you? Who can change things? And so on. Most people don't like being told what to do. Directly telling your friends how to live their lives often won't improve their ability to overcome adversity. Therefore, an important part of the list tool is to ask questions instead of instructing. So that is the entire core content of this book. We cannot choose the era or the environment we live in, but the only thing we can choose is how we respond effectively and positively to all difficulties. The concept of adversity quotient and the list tool provided in this book, I believe, are powerful weapons to help you cope with an unfavorable environment. Life may be full of adversities, but how you deal with difficulties can redefine your entire destiny. And a final message: I hope we can all become strong climbers, walking on our own path.